Hi everyone. So this is a month 2, week 2 upper body. This week's a little bit different in regards to the exercises. Some of them are combination exercises, meaning we're combining two upper body exercises into like one rep, if that makes sense. And it will, I promise. But the sets and reps are very normal. We're not messing with high rep, we're not messing with tempo, anything like that. I'm gonna list the exercises that we're doing and also kind of recommend what you might need. So first we're gonna be lateral to frontal. So instead of separating our movements today, as I'm doing laterals and then frontals this next set, we're doing it in a combination. So out and in, we'll do 10 to 12 of those, take a rest, 4 sets, okay? Next, we're going to be curl to press. I'm gonna be doing a hammer curl. So here, your curl and then press back down, curl to press. I'm only giving you all of this guidance so that you can like get in your brain what dumbbells you might want to have ready, okay? Next one, we're gonna do back fly to back row. So hinging here at the hip, we're going to go to a back fly, flip the grip, back row, okay? So showing you again, back fly, flipping that, back row. The last thing we're doing is we're actually going to be getting on the floor. So if you want a towel, a blanket, a yoga mat, a bench, if you want something, depending on where you're working out, if you're on carpet or something, you'll be fine. You can use the bench. You don't have to be on the floor if you don't want to be. But you'll basically lay on your back and you're going to be doing a chest fly while also doing a leg lower. So you're doing a core with a chest exercise. You're like, what's happening? I know. So we're going to do 4 sets of each exercise. Each set is going to have 10 to 12 reps, just depending on how you're feeling today. Again, we always kind of talk about if we've done other movement today. Maybe lifting is not your main movement. Maybe it's not your main sport. Maybe it's not your main exercising. It's just something that you're supplementing because you know that it's important to cross train. It's important to have strength, okay? So I have a couple of different dumbbells out here for each movement, because obviously the back is a bigger muscle, so you're going to be able to go a little bit heavier on that back fly to back row. Some people have weaker shoulders, so you might want something a little bit lighter for that. Everyone is so different, so just be thinking about those different movements and what weight you might want to use. So we're going to be starting with those lateral to frontals. I will tell you occasionally like what weight I'm using just for kind of like a reference, but I don't want it to be your point of reference and what you think you should be lifting. Everyone is genetically built so differently. I don't want you to ever look at something else that somebody's using or somebody's lifting or somebody's running or whatever it is and compare yourself to that. Like, nobody else should be your standard. You are your standard, okay? So I am going to be starting with 12.5s for the lateral to frontal raises. Again, I always tell you, let your first set kind of be like a trial run. Do the reps, and if you're like, yeah, that was a breeze for me, go up. Or if you're like, ugh, I overestimated how I was feeling today, I need to drop, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. And again, if you need to like watch me do the exercise and then rewind to start, absolutely all right here. So we go straight from that lateral raise right in that frontal. Don't forget to put the lateral raise going to the corners of the room. We're not straight out and our arms aren't locked out either, okay? So this first set, I'll face you, and then the next set, I will turn to the side so that you can see what it looks like from the side too. Sitting straight up, this isn't a back fly, so you're here. Yeah, and then you put to the front. Perfect. This is 2. That's 3. And 4. This will be halfway if you're doing that 10 rep. If you're feeling good and you want to go for 12, that is totally fine. Next one's 7. Next one's 9, you're almost there. 1 more. Good, take a rest. So we will do that 3 more times through. So I want you to kind of think in your brain of how that set felt. So for me, I was kind of in a weird place because I'm like I know I chose the right weight for this rep range. In my mind, I was like, I probably could have pushed out 2 more. I might on the next set, we'll kind of see, but I just want you to kind of think about that. You can do a different weight for different sets. So let's say you do 2 sets at a heavier weight, and then you're like, actually, my form is starting to suck. It's okay to drop the weight and switch it. Or maybe you do 2 sets and you're like, actually, I'm still feeling pretty good at this weight. I think I could do a little, like a couple more pounds or even a couple more reps for the last 2 sets. It's okay to change that. So next set, I'm gonna stick with the same dumbbells. I'm gonna see when I get to rep 10 if I'm like still feeling as confident as I am right now. We'll see about that. And don't forget that your rests are personal, okay? So just because I pick up the weight and go into another set doesn't mean you're ready. Pause the video. The combo moves will get you. Also, much apologies if you are watching this after you've already done lower body from this week, those single leg movements. Please tell me you're as sore as I am. I am 3 days, almost 3 days, post leg day. The soreness is still there. Explain that to me. I think I'm good to go for 12. So I'm gonna push out 2 more here. 1 more. Good, take a rest. Sometimes it's like a game time decision. You don't really know. Or you think you're okay, and then a couple reps in, you're like, we ain't okay, girl, we ain't okay. So I think I'm gonna stick with that 12 rep range for the next 2 sets. And then just keep in mind that the next exercise is hammer curler press. Okay, yeah, hammer curler press. Today's not complicated. You are getting like a little bit more bang for your buck when it comes to combining exercises sometimes, and it's just fun to like switch it up. I will also eventually show you just like full body stuff, like combining upper body moves with lower body. You'll really enjoy that as well. All right. Now, will we go up on the last set? I can't tell you. I can't tell you right now. We'll see after this one. But I am gonna aim to stick with that 12 rep here. And remember what we learned about last week, which was tempo. So obviously there's multiple ways to challenge your muscle, to encourage growth. And it's not always about going up in weight. It's not always about going up in reps. Sometimes you can use the same weight and then you're like, okay, on the next set, I'm gonna be a little bit more intentional on my tempo. I'm gonna slow things down instead of just throwing weights around. Oh, we getting spicy here. I'm gonna push out a few more because I know I can. 2 more. 1 more. Take a rest. 1 more spicy set left. So if you're like in a weird in-between place, because like I get there all the time with my weights where I'm like, I know if I go up in weight, my form won't be that great, or I'm not gonna be able to hit the rep range. So instead I'm like, okay, can we slow down the actual movement to encourage that growth? You know, so sometimes in laterals and frontals, we want to get in a hurry because we're like, just get it over with. If you're in that weird in-between place where you're not ready to go up, I want you to be more intentional. Yeah, slow it down. Go back to that tempo practice where you're really just engaging mind to muscle connection. That's what tempo work does for you, right? So instead of just flying through stuff and not even thinking about what what body part, what muscle you're utilizing. Slowing down is like, oh, I feel this right here, like I'm supposed to. That's mind to muscle connection, okay? So we have one more set of these, and then I'm gonna switch weight a little bit. I'm gonna go up a tad for that curl to press. You do not have to. You do you, man. All right, last set here. I'm gonna push for 12 reps again. It was getting pretty spicy near the end, so yeah. I'm also gonna try to stay as controlled as possible here. Remember what I've mentioned before, that if you're coming up on your toes on a lift, that means you're not really using that muscle as much as you need to be. You're kind of compensating, and you might need to drop weight. We're getting close, y'all. Next one's 10. If you're capping at 10, I'm gonna push for 2 more, even though it's spicy. 1 more. Good, take that rest. Grab water if you need it, adjust weights. And when I say I'm going up, I'm not going up a lot, okay? I'm going up a couple of pounds. So just for reference, I used 12.5 for those. My first set, I'm gonna do 15s for a hammer curl press. And you're gonna notice too that depending on what you're doing, so I will also teach you eventually down the line, the difference that it makes even sitting, doing an exercise, when you don't have your body working with you, all of that kind of stuff. But today we're gonna do standing curl to press. Eventually you can do a sitting curl to press, you can do a kneeling, there's all sorts of things that you can do. So I'm gonna go to 15s, see how you girls feeling, and then we'll kind of go from there. I don't have my glasses on. I almost picked up heavier than I should have. So I'm gonna start with the 10 rep range. Again, after the first set, if I'm like, you can do more than that, we'll adjust, okay? Doing 10 to 12, 4 sets, same layout here. So curl into a press. And remember, we're not rushing these. And I also want to show you, I didn't show you from the side on the last exercise, but I want to show you here that I'm not swinging my arms for those bicep curls, okay? I'm intentional. The elbow is staying in on those hammer curls. And we're also not swinging the body, okay? Again, that's a sign that you probably need to go down. A couple more. I'm gonna push out 2 more to get 12. I feel pretty good. 1 more. And you're like, what do you mean by swinging? So while you're taking your rest. So we don't want to see this, okay? You're not like hip thrusting your reps here, okay? I'm gonna go up just a touch, just a couple of pounds, I think, yeah. Let's go. So I was doing 15s before. I'm gonna go to 17 and a half. So I'm not doing like anything super impressive for the second set. Just a little bit of added spiciness. I might drop down to 10 reps. Let's see. Perfect. So sometimes when I'm adjusting my weights, you're like, what is she doing over there? It's because I don't have my glasses on. And I can't see what I'm doing, you guys, okay? Next one's 4. Remember, anything in that 10 to 12 range is fine. And if you are outgrowing your weights and you're quite not able to get more, you can go higher rep range, totally fine. Pushing out a few more here. Ooh, we're slowing down. 2 more. Deep breath, 1 more. Good. Let it drop. So that was my sign that going up was good, because a good like indicator that you're kind of in that sweet spot is your form is good, but the last couple reps are a little bit of a struggle, okay? So it's not to the point where you're like forcing it, like your form sucks, but the last couple where you're like having to take a couple breaths, you're kind of have to be like, all right, we've got 3, 2, 1. That's a good sign that you're in the right spot, okay? The last 2 to 3 reps should be kind of challenging, okay? So we've got 2 more sets of that. And then we're gonna go to that fly, back fly, where we are hinging at the hip, straight into that row. I will probably keep a pretty similar weight as this one, but everyone is so different. Please do not think that that is necessary for you. Either way on the spectrum, whether you need to drop or whether you have more strength in you today and you need to go up, okay? Do you like my crazy socks? I don't know. My socks disappear. You have that problem where you're like, I have so many socks, and then you're like, where are all my socks? I don't know. Checkered socks it is, I guess. Oh, you're like, okay, girl. 3rd set here. Focusing on controlled movement. This is like the happy part of the set, where nothing sucks too bad yet. This is 4. This is halfway if you're doing 10. I don't know what I'm doing yet because we're not quite there yet. 6. Oh, I'm debating. That's 8. This is 10 if you're doing 10. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for 2 more. One more for 12. Perfecto. Also, if those last reps, which they should be, are a little bit of a struggle, it's okay to take your rest after, okay? Don't rush into it, even if, and I've talked about this before, even if your heart rate on a lift, upper body especially, like I'm in my garage, so like there's heat and stuff that'll make my heart rate get higher than it would in like in an air conditioned space. So sometimes in upper body, you know, we looked at and we're like, my heart rate's fine. I can go into another set. It's not about your heart rate and lifting. It's about your muscle having time to recover to fully put an effort into the next set. Sometimes our heart rate can be really low on a lift and we're like, meh, and we just hop right back into it. But your muscles then, a couple reps into your next set, are screaming at you like, why did you go ahead and pick up those dumbbells? We were not ready. Okay. Yeah, that's where we're at. Yee. And a good rule of thumb is you should need a little bit of recovery. Like if you're just kind of like breezing through it, it's time. It's time for heavier weights. It's time. Alrighty, this is our last set of this, and we're like right on time. And then we're going into that back fly, back row combo. Last set here, last set, best set. I cannot even tell you guys how ready I am for the day when I'm in my garage recording these for you in a sweatshirt. Where I walk into my garage and I'm so cold. This is 5. Seven. We're getting spicy. Right on time. Next one's 9. If you got 10 on you, do 10. But if you got 2 more on this last set, we're gonna push it out together. You don't have to rush it. Take a breath. Last one. Perfecto. All right. Do what you need to do on this transition. Remember, back fly, flip, back row. Yeah. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter than I just did on that first exercise for the first set, just because I want to see. So once you've been lifting, so we're like a little over halfway. We're halfway technically, time-wise, for lifting. Your muscles are already starting to get fatigued. Those shoulders are kind of starting to talk to you. So for the first set, I just want to make sure that I have great form and all of that before I just go jump into those other dumbbells. So go ahead and pick up the weights that you need. For this first set, I'm gonna face forward, and then I really hope I remember to turn sideways to show you on the second set how it looks from the side, just because I want you to see the amount of hinge. Because remember, I've talked to you before, when we start to get tired, we start to stand up, and then we turn into lateral raises, and that's not what we're looking at, okay? So stay hinged forward. We're working those back muscles, all right? And you are gonna be hitting some shoulders, so if your shoulders are getting tired, they're gonna get hit again, okay? All right, let's go fly to row. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. This is 6. I'm gonna go for 12. 7. Good, that's 8. 10. If you're just going to 10, here it is. I'm gonna push out 2 more. 1 more. Good, take a rest. So judging on how my little delts felt with that weight going to 12 reps, I'm staying there. I know I have 3 more sets. I know we're not done. And I know near the end that I was like really having to think about form and not like using my body to get me through. So I'm gonna stick with that. I will say, so we don't hit chest a lot in this subscription, but when we do that chest fly with leg lowers, we will be hitting chest. If you're newer to exercising your chest, don't feel like you need to go super high. You will be gripping the steering wheel tomorrow if you're getting ready after this. Like I've done that before too, where you're like, your little muscles are twitching. Yeah, that'll happen. So we're going into our second set of back fly to back row from the side. Yeah, we remembered. Just so that you can see that hinge, and you can also see how far my arms go back or don't go back. Remember, you're not trying to like take off to outer space. You don't need to bring your arms all the way behind your back. All right. Next one's 3. 5. Next one's 7. Don't rush it. Even if those arms are getting tired. Next one's 9. I'm going for the full 12. You do not have to. If not, this was your 10th. 11. Last one. Good. Take a rest. Great job. Think about how you felt. Even if you're kind of uncomfortable, I want you to try and stick with that weight, okay? That's really tempting too. So I talk a lot about the other end of the spectrum, like, you know, watch your form, drop weight if you need to, that kind of thing. But the opposite is true as well. Just because you're feeling some discomfort and you're working hard or you're breathing hard or you're like, struggling, that's all right. Try to stick with that weight as long as you can. And I also want to talk about when you're progressing with weights. I think we think, oh, I can't go up in weight on my dumbbells on this exercise because I can't do all 4 sets for 10 reps at that weight. Who cares? It is okay if you only do 1 to 2 sets with heavier weight than you did before, and then you drop down on the last 1 to 2. You're still growing, because guess what? In a couple weeks, maybe you do 3 sets at that new weight, and then 4. And then you're comfortably doing 4 at that new weight, and so you're like, well, I'm going back to square one where I do 1 set heavier. That is still growth, okay? Growth doesn't look the same all the time. So I'm gonna go back to facing forward, just now that you kind of saw where we're looking, or how we're looking from the side, okay? 3rd set here, and then we're gonna be going down to the floor, so kind of have your mat or towel handy if that's what you're doing. I'm probably just gonna get dirty, because who cares? I mean, I'm at the point in my day where I'm just gonna shower, so it doesn't matter. Next one's 4. Remember to find your own rhythm. Does not have to be mine. Next one's 6. So if you're with me, you're about halfway. You're like, only halfway. That's the thing about combo modes, okay? This is 8. If you're going to 10, you're almost there. This is 10. Pushing out 2 more. Last one. Good. Drop those dumbbells. 1 more set. Everyone is gonna find different exercises more challenging than the others. Take heart. So some of you shoulder press stuff, you're like, forget that. And some of you stuff like this is hard. That's okay. That is all right. Just because something is easy for somebody else doesn't mean it's gonna be easy for you, and that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, or your body, or your strength, or any of that. So 1 more set just like that, and then we're gonna be lying flat on our back. Remember, we're gonna be lying flat, flying out, okay, and back in. And we're gonna be doing a leg lower with it. Don't worry, I will show you what that movement looks like before we kind of just hop into it, because you're like, in your brain, you're like, coordination. So, yeah. And we're gonna be pretty close. I mean, you're gonna be a few minutes over 30 minutes, but we're pretty close on this one. All right, last set of these checkered socks. Okay. If you haven't aimed for 12 reps, how about you try? Okay. This is 4. Start to find a rhythm with your breathing. 5. We're halfway. This is 6. 8. Next one's 10. Push out 2 more, we can. Last one here. Making 12. Aye! Okay. Also, I changed my mind. I just realized how sweaty my back is. All it's gonna do is collect dirt. Ugh. Okay, so I'm gonna show you this movement here. So leg lowers, it's a core move, all right? I'm gonna show you with no weight, just to give you an idea. Your legs can be bent to modify or a little bit straighter. Everything's gonna start up, okay? And then you're gonna go here and up, here and up, okay? So, and 2, I want to tell you, if you need to modify, I want you to separate those moves. I know today's point is combo moves, but this can be a lot on your core, especially if you haven't worked core a lot, if you're postpartum, that kind of thing. So what I want you to do is I do want everything to start up. I want you to bend your knees heavy if you're modifying. I want you to do your fly, and I want you to tap your heels down and bring it back up. Fly, tap your heels, and bring it back up, okay? That's the modified version. I welcome modifications always, so please do not feel like you are any less because you need to modify. A move like this is very deceptive, especially with your core, okay? So if you're doing a non-modified, I want you to know that your heels are not touching the ground. Your feet are not touching the ground. They're going to a hover position and then meeting your arms back up where we start. For this one, we're aiming for 10. This one kind of sucks. So give yourself grace. Don't stress. 1, 2. That's 3. 4. Halfway. I'm going for 10. That's 6. 7. That's 8. Give me 2 more. 9. And 10. Put those weights to the side. Now, I know that sometimes when we do leg lowers, I'll have you put your hands up underneath that lower back. So what you do, so this little gap, if you're arching your back, I want you to close that gap. See how that looks? So I want you to watch this part of my body. See how we're here? Press the lower back into the ground, into the mat, into the carpet. Close that gap. That's where that core engagement comes from. If your core, you're like, girl, this core is bad, you can put something beneath in that little crevice. So if you're not able to close that gap and do the movement, maybe roll up a blanket, roll up a towel, maybe just something soft that can go underneath there, okay? Second set. These are harder than you thought they were gonna be, aren't they? That's what I thought. All right, let's go. 10 more. That's 3. 4. Halfway. That's 6. 7. 8. 9. One more. 10. Take a rest. Take a rest. We only have 2 more sets, just like that. And then you're out of here. A couple minutes past 30, but you know, I gotta talk and explain stuff, you know? So, but take a breath, you're almost there. Also, if your core is shaking during that movement, yep, that's normal. All right. Okay, third set here. And maybe you've done a couple of sets unmodified and you're really like struggling and your lower back is hurting. Please do the modification. It's not a big deal. Bend those knees, okay? All right. That's 2. That's 4. Halfway. 7. 8. 2 more. 1 more. Ooh, take a rest. You're close. 1 more set, that's it. 1 more set. Last set, best set, okay? Do what you can. Maybe you have second guessed your ability and you automatically went to modified and you didn't even try 1 to 2 reps of unmodified. I would encourage you to maybe try that on this last set. You never know, you might surprise yourself. So, keeping it under 35 minutes, winning at life right now. All right. Ooh. All right. Arms up. Last set. You can do anything one more time. Halfway. Don't rush. I know it sucks, don't rush. That's 7. 8. 9. 1 more. 10. Hello. Great job. So, if you have any questions, so like I showed you that modification for that core move, anytime we're doing something and you're like, ugh, yikes, that infiltrate or that aggravated my injury, what can I do? Please reach out. I absolutely want to help you with that. Also, if any time during this subscription, this month, next month, in the future, whatever, you have an injury, maybe a leg injury, shoulder, whatever, you do not have to follow. So like, I know I post these 3 new and I label them as month 1, week 1, 2, 1, you know, all this stuff, but that doesn't mean that that's the order you have to do them in. I want you to do what's good for your body. That's the point of you staying in the subscription, because then you have access to the old library for as long as you're in it. So if you're like, crap, like my ankle's really messed up, you've got all these upper body workouts that you can pull out. Maybe you're doing upper body for 3 days a week for a couple of weeks because you're injured. That is okay, you're still moving, okay? So amazing job. The next workout is going to be your body weight type HIIT workout. I'll see you there.